Welcome. To begin our ceremony, I ask that if you're able to please remain standing and invite to the stage Dr. Jamie Rhodes Galloway for the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Dr. Rhodes Galloway. You may be seated. Parents, family, friends, faculty, staff, guests, and most importantly, graduates. Welcome to the College of Fine Arts and Communication Recognition Ceremony. My name is Jay Yukonevich, and as Associate Dean of the College of Fine Arts and Communication, I bring you greetings and warm wishes from Dean Linda Keene. On behalf of the college administration, faculty, and staff, we are so happy to join together with you this afternoon as we honor the accomplishments of this graduating class. I also want to thank the ECU Faculty Brass Quintet for their performance prior to the start of the ceremony. Your music set a truly special tone for this event. Today, we recognize graduates from 4 different but synergistic schools: the School of Art and Design, the School of Communication, the School of Music, and the School of Theater and Dance. While each school stands on its own in terms of history and tradition, as well as the unique disciplines and areas of academic study, as a college, we continue to serve as a beacon of the arts, culture, and community in our region. As we gather here today, I want to offer my sincerest congratulations. Today is a celebration of your dedication, determination, and resilience to achieving your academic goals. As we honor your achievements this afternoon, I hope that you will be not only filled with a sense of pride with all that you have accomplished, but also with a sense of humility and gratitude for the support of family, friends, and mentors that helped accompany you on this journey. Please take every moment you can this weekend to tell them thank you. I would now like to introduce our stage party, including our guest speaker. From the School of Music, Dr. Mark Taggart. From the School of Art and Design and the School of Theater and Dance, Director Kate Bukowski. From the School of Music, Director Chris Olfers. And from the School of Communication, Director Laura Privadera. And now I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our graduation speaker for today. Mark Taggart is currently professor of composition in the ECU School of Music. Dr. Taggart holds degrees from the University of Louisville and Cornell University, studying composition with Karel Husa and Stephen Stuckey. Dr. Taggart began teaching at East Carolina University in 1985, and this year marks his 40th anniversary as a faculty member within the School of Music. During his tenure at ECU, Taggart has taught and mentored hundreds of undergraduate and graduate students and proudly served as chair of the faculty from 2006 to 2008. As a composer, Mark has written for a variety of forces, from soloists to chamber ensembles to large ensembles, but is particularly fond of opera. This past month, the School of Music premiered Gal Youngin, a new opera by Dr. Taggart and librettist Anne McCutcheon that featured a collaborative effort from School of Music faculty and School of Music and School of Art and Design faculty and students, for which Dr. Taggart is especially proud of. Dr. Taggart will be retiring at the end of this academic year, and on behalf of the School of Music faculty, staff, and students, we want to thank him for his tireless dedication and service, but more importantly, for being a colleague, friend, and mentor to so many of us. Would you please help me welcome to the podium Dr. Mark Taggart.
Whoa. Congratulations to the class of 2025 College of Fine Arts and Communication graduates. Well, here we are. This ceremony represents a significant milestone in your lives. Savor this with friends, family, and loved ones. And thank you for your introduction, Dr. Yukanovich. I am honored to have been asked to speak a few words at your celebration. I think I was selected for this occasion, as you heard, because I've been here such a long time, it was believed that I might have a few insights. I kind of doubt that, but we'll see. First off, this college represents the creative force of ECU. Some of our colleagues from the School of Art and Design refer to us as the creatives. I enjoy that description. That means our creative energy is an important part of us as we go about our work. We learn skills and technique so that we can transform our creativity into works of art, poetry, dance, music, articles, broadcasts, and of course, opera, the best of them all. Our creative energy reminds us why we are putting ourselves through this. It was your work, as well as your creativity, that brought you here. Don't forget that. Your hard work, let me just remind you, some of you were in my freshman music theory classroom. I am so proud of you. I would like to share what I have learned from you while I was your professor. You have embodied the spirit of the motto of East Carolina University. Servire, servir, servire, which, though difficult to pronounce, and I got to pronounce it a couple more times in this speech, folks, doggone it. It basically means to serve by helping others in your community. You all arrived at my classroom with different levels of experience in music. There were some of you who were quite proficient, who knew how to read a grand staff, and who knew about pitch, scales, intervals, triads, melody, and harmony. However, for many of you, these concepts were quite unfamiliar to you. At this moment of realization in my classroom, I have commonly seen that panicked expression that translates to, "Oh, goodness sakes," What have I gotten myself into? How will I survive this class? Following that moment, however, I bore witness to what I describe as the ECU motto, in motion. Perhaps due to your experiences as musicians in your high school band, school, or church choir, you learned that you must work collaboratively and creatively to have a satisfying performance. You must constantly listen, learn, adjust, and assist the members who are struggling. A performance is only as effective as its least experienced member. So you decided in my classrooms to pull everyone up together. The more experienced of you immediately helped your classmates who weren't proficient yet in understanding these concepts. No one asked you to do so. It was spontaneous. It was a joy for me to listen to how you explained harmony, melody, phrases, and cadences to each other. I learned from your explanations. By helping your less experienced classmates, you made everyone and everything better. This occurred regularly in my classroom for 4 decades, and I'm still in awe of it. It led me to describe my teaching philosophy as everyone rides the train. So thank you, theory students. I am confident that this phenomenon of, here we go again, sévère, has also occurred through classes throughout our college. We need to get a motto with a word that we can pronounce. Goodness. But what happens when all the units in CFAC pull together to create a production of a work? Well, that just happened last month in ECU Opera's production of my opera, Gal Jungen. There they are. First, our cast members had to memorize a 2,924 measure musical score. For your reference, the typical song has 32 measures. So members of our cast had to memorize something that was equivalent of over 90 songs. Next, you had to learn how to inhabit the characters' thoughts, moods, actions, and expressions, which required lessons in acting and movement. Then it must fit all together so that it seems natural and spontaneous. And years ago, I vividly recall at this moment former opera director Clyde Hiss imploring the singers to show some emotions and movement of the characters with his plaintive remark, "Well, don't just stand there like you're waiting for a ham sandwich." I love that every time it's We also asked our cast to dance in scene 4, so they had to learn how to move some more. Finally, we had to provide a video of the moments that occur later in the work that we couldn't accomplish live on stage. Those moments were expertly directed by Eric, Too Tall filmmaker Yates the Green. There he is. All rehearsals, sessions, meetings, coaching, and read-throughs were expertly organized and engineered by our opera director, Dr. Daniel Shirley, for whom I am eternally grateful. I still can't get a grip on all the moving parts that were involved in this production. How Dr. Shirley managed it, it still amazes me. He sends his greetings, music grads, by the way. He's at another ceremony watching his wife get her degree. So, he sends his greetings. In this day, world premieres of operas don't happen very often. It takes formidable preparation, quite a few resources, and much time and effort from all involved. But we did it, and the results were 3 masterful performances in the Paramount Theater in Farmville that I will always remember. We are grateful to Farmville that I will always be grateful for them providing us a place to perform. Now, I would like to take a moment and have all the graduating cast and crew of Gal Young'un to stand, celebrate, and be recognized. Up you go. Bravo! Bravo! I hope you didn't mind that I laughed so much when I heard my favorite lines from Scene 4. I laughed like a kid every time. So did you feel that creative energy? Aye! That's what's needed from all of you to burst forth, to obliterate the current conversation, and to raise the national consciousness. Graduates of the College of Fine Arts and Communication, rise up, celebrate. Please be involved in your community and your alumni association. We hear from you. Go forth and create. Thank you.
Mark, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us this afternoon, and congratulations again on your many years of service to East Carolina University. And now, it is time for the presentation of graduates for the College of Fine Arts and Communication. I would like to invite Dr. Glenn Hubbard, School of Communication, to the podium to announce our graduates, starting with the degree for Master of Arts in Communication.
Take just a moment to get everybody ready. We good? Kristen Byrne. This is the, by the way, I should say, the Master of Arts in Communication. I think we said that, didn't we? Just making sure. Addison Carasquila. Brianna Cutler. Danielle Godwin. Jayla Sky Hensley. Brooklyn Hayes. Kayla Binkley Hyatt. Alicia Hussein. Oda Sophie Kilstein. Gwen Claire Lackey. Emily Locklear. Madeline Sophia O'Connor. Kristen Brooke Outland. Tamara Leanna Perry. Michelle Humphrey. Rebecca Rhodes. Alicia Krismanich Sandoval. Catherine Grace Shield. Megan Amelia Skelly. Allie Mackenzie Smith. Lindsay Smith. Monique St. Cyr. Shelley Vinsel Vanderford. Gracie White. Cal Zweigel. And congratulations to our comm masters guys. And now we turn it over to Professor Daniel Carrico.
Hello. Amal Abdallah, Master of Fine Arts in Graphic Design. Parker Estes, Master of Fine Arts in Graphic Design. Justin Tyler King, Master of Fine Arts in Graphic Design. Haley McElroy, Master of Fine Arts in Ceramics. Congratulations. I would like to invite Mr. Joshua Bishop to recognize the Master of Music graduates. Andrew Barr, choral conducting and vocal pedagogy. Allison Victoria Benoit, music performance. Ashley Michelle Dudley, music performance. Esther Keller, vocal pedagogy and music performance.